So spooky season is underway, and I hope you have been watching a lot of good horror movies. This is a video you can check out for more recommendations if you need more movies to watch this spooky season. This video today is going to be about some underrated or underseen horror movies that I think everyone needs to check out. Whether it is spooky season or not, these movies are good all throughout the year. Let's just get started. So the first movie on my list, I'm pretty sure all of my friends would kill me if I don't mention this movie at least at some point very soon, and that movie is PG Psycho Goreman. If my friends were a cult, this movie would be the cult leader, probably. I have seen Psycho Goreman a handful of times. It's kind of like our initiation movie. Siblings Mimi and Luke unwittingly resurrect an ancient alien overlord. Using a magical amulet, they force the monster to obey their childish whims and accidentally attract a rogues gallery of intergalactic assassins to small town suburbia. This movie is so fun. I find it to be a wonderful love letter to sort of 80s B horror as well. There's tons of amazing practical effects, puppetry almost, like people in costumes. This movie is going to be like a horror science fiction comedy. There's a lot of comedic elements to it. Children actors are actually quite funny. There are lines in these movies that I and my friends repeat over to each other all the time because they are so good. I don't think I see enough people talking about Psycho Goreman. Do enough people know about Psycho Goreman? If you are looking for something that is a little less serious, a little more zany and fun, lean into the camp and the B-horror, definitely check out Psycho Goreman. I now want to give a shout out to one of my favorite movies that I like to watch during the Halloween season. I'm not going to say it's a good movie, but I think it's a fun movie. And that one is going to be 1999's House on Haunted Hill. An amusement park mogul offers a random group of diverse people $1 million to spend the night in a decrepit former mental institution. This movie is so 90s. It has an all-star cast. There's Jeffrey Rush, Famke Jensen, Ali Larter, Taye Diggs, Peter Gallagher, Chris Kattan, Jeffrey Combs, I think, makes an appearance in here. So it's got a really good cast, but I remember watching this when I was really young and I genuinely thought it was really creepy too. It has such a perfect Halloween horror aesthetic. However, keep in mind, I don't know if this movie is particularly good. I still think this movie is worth a fun watch, perhaps with friends too. I always thought the beginning, the opening credits really set the tone well, the way the score is, for a good spooky viewing. So if you're looking for something that is a little 90s, a little creepy, a little fun, then definitely check out House on Haunted Hill. I rewatch this one almost every year. So my next one is actually going to be a pick that I actually don't like all that much. I shouldn't say like, even though I thought it just wasn't as great as people said it was. I am recommending this because I do think there are lots of people in the horror community that actually really love this movie. That movie is going to be 2018's Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. This is going to be a Korean found footage horror film. The crew of a horror web series travels to an abandoned asylum for a live broadcast, but they encounter much more than expected as they move deeper inside the nightmarish old building. I don't know what else to say except this is a Korean film. This is a found footage horror film. However, I do think that people generally find this one very scary, that the chill's very creepy, and so I think this one is definitely worth a shout out, especially if found footage horror is your thing. So if you're looking for something that hopefully will scare the pants off of you on Halloween, maybe check out Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. Speaking of found footage, my next one is also going to be of that genre, and this is going to be 2022's Deadstream. A disgraced internet personality attempts to win back his followers by live streaming one night alone in a haunted house, but when he accidentally pisses off a vengeful spirit, his big comeback event becomes a real-time fight for his life. Now, Deadstream is a little bit different than Gonjiam Haunted Asylum in the sense that Gonjiam is played as a straight horror film, where Deadstream is definitely a horror comedy, 100%. So if you're looking for a more comedic found footage horror film, then this one is probably going to be right up your alley. I remember watching this one a year or two ago and I was watching it with friends. It was the perfect setting. We were all laughing because it was so hilarious. I think that the best way to describe this movie is fun. So if you're looking for a fun horror movie, this is definitely it. For another fun one, how about let's jump into something that was actually made earlier this year. And this one is actually going to be Clown in a Cornfield. Thinking about it, this is a very good slasher horror Halloween movie. Quinn and her father have just just moved to the quiet town of Kettle Springs hoping for a fresh start. Instead, she discovers a fractured community that has fallen on hard times after the treasured Bay Pen corn syrup factory burned down. As the locals bicker amongst themselves and tensions boil over, a sinister, grinning figure emerges from the cornfield to cleanse the town of its burdens, one bloody victim at a time. Clown in a Cornfield is just a really fun modern slasher movie. It's directed by Eli Craig, who also did Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. If you have not seen that, I totally recommend that. I genuinely thought that this movie was way better than I was expecting it to be. I think the best thing about this movie, again, kind of with a similar theme with some of the movies that I've talked about already, is that it's fun. And sometimes horror movies should be fun. It has pretty interesting characters. There were some interesting story beats in there that actually really surprised me. I'm pretty sure this is based on a book, but I've never read that. There were some jokes and like some lines in here that actually made me laugh out loud and I found a little endearing. I would say that the effects and the kills were pretty cool. So if you're looking for a fun modern day slasher, definitely don't miss Clown in a Cornfield. Savannah, all you're choosing is fun horror movies. Okay, let me give you something a little darker. And this one actually might be the most popular movie out of all the ones that I've chosen, but I do think it's just good. So I'm gonna recommend it again, even if you've heard about it. And that is going to be 2023's When Evil Lurks. This is a brutal and gory horror film from Argentina. Residents of a small rural town discover that a demon is about to be born among them. They desperately try to escape before the evil is born, but it may be too late. This movie is really good. It is deeply unsettling. It is disturbing. It is gory. I should say if you are easily disturbed by movies, be cautious with this one. I don't know if I should, but giving some kind of trigger warning. If you are particularly affected by violence towards children, be cautious about this movie. It's kind of got a more mean, bleak spirit to it, but it is so good and so effective with what it's trying to share. But the funny thing is too, as this movie, as deeply dark and disturbing as it is, this movie is also really beautiful. I find the cinematography and the acting, it's all done so well, which is why I think this is such an effective horror movie. If you're looking for something bleak, dark, disturbing, violent, bloody, then 100% check out When Evil Lurks. I probably have already mentioned this before in some other videos, but I'm gonna mention it again because this is the movie that I champion all the time. I just don't think enough people have seen it. This movie is going to be Braindead, made in 1992 by Peter Jackson. When a Sumatran rat monkey bites Lionel Cosgrove's mother, she's transformed into a zombie and begins killing and transforming the entire town while Lionel races to keep things under control. I know I've mentioned this in a previous video before, so in case you have seen that, I don't want to waste too much time on it. However, this movie is so fun. It is basically New Zealand's Evil Dead. If you love Evil Dead, then you definitely need to watch this movie. It is funny, it is crazy, it is campy, it is a complete trip from start to finish. I absolutely love this movie. The effects are so well done. There are a couple lines in this movie that I still repeat to myself every day. If you don't like gore, please stay away from this movie. This movie is so incredibly gory. This one is a hoot to watch with your friends. This is another movie that I'm not sure how many people have seen or heard about, but I'm gonna mention it again anyways. This is 2024's Oddity. After the brutal murder of her twin sister, Darcy goes after those responsible by using haunted items as her tools for revenge. Oddity was absolutely a brilliant horror kind of mystery film with an opening that was very chilling and unsettling in the sense that when I think about it and I think like if I was in that position, I don't know what the hell I would do. Like it really sat with me for a while because the premise of the opening was so thought-provoking in a sense because it's so chilling, scary, and disturbing. Like, honestly, I genuinely really love the opening of this movie. I would also say this one kind of acts more like a spooky, slow burn. Like, you're not really sure what's gonna happen. I think it really adds really good tension and atmosphere. Eerie. I think eerie is a really good word to use for this. But there's also this really big heart behind this movie, which I really enjoy. So definitely check out Oddity. It's a wonderful, spooky spooky little horror film. The next movie that I'm going to recommend to you is going to be a film from 2022, and this one is called Influencer. While struggling on a solo backpacking trip in Thailand, social media influencer Madison meets CW, who travels with ease and shows her a more uninhibited way of living, but CW's interest in her takes a darker turn. You know, for a smaller, low-budget movie, I think this one actually was pretty decent. It's a horror mystery thriller. I think the acting was really well done. I thought it was unpredictable. I was guessing where it went the whole time. You know, I definitely am one of the first people to cringe when it comes to movies that are about like influencers and social media and such. However, I think this one actually did a pretty good job remaining interesting. So if you're in the mood for something that is a little slightly more horror, but it's more in the light category, more in the thriller, the mystery category, then I definitely think that you should check this one out. The next one I'm going to check out is going to be a little bit different. This one kind of falls under the categories of horror, fantasy, romance, maybe some comedy. This one has some vampires in it, and this one is going to be the French-Canadian film Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. What a title. Sasha is a young vampire with a serious problem. She's too sensitive to kill. When her exasperated parents cut off her blood supply, Sasha's life is in jeopardy. Luckily, she meets Paul, a lonely teenager with suicidal tendencies who is willing to give his life to save hers. But their friendly agreement soon becomes a nocturnal quest to fulfill Paul's last wishes before day breaks. If you like vampire movies, if you like coming of age movies, romance movies, something that is more sweet but has kind of like a spooky, dark undertone, a little surreal at times, then definitely check out Humanist Vampire, blah, 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 blah. This movie really surprised me at how touching it was. It was very beautiful as well, the cinematography, the acting was really well done. I wouldn't say that this is like a scary movie per se, but it is horror in the sense that it does deal with some pretty horrific themes. It does deal with vampires, things like that. So naturally there's going to be some bloodshed and whatnot. But this movie can have a little bit of camp qualities to it. So if something like that might interest you this Halloween season, this spooky season, or any time of the year, definitely check out Humanist Vampire. The last one that I'm going to recommend in this video is going to be another movie that came out this year that hopefully we can give more recognition for, and this is The Ugly Stepsister, which is a Norwegian horror film. In a fairy tale kingdom where beauty is a brutal business, Elvira battles to compete with her incredibly beautiful stepsister, and she will go to any length to catch the prince's eye. So this is 100% a complete Grimm's fairy tale body horror film. It is disgusting, it is disturbing, it is honestly extremely sad and emotional in some ways. I think that this movie was very beautiful, the way it was shot. If you've watched movies like The Substance and you wanted something a little more like that, then definitely check this out. Yeah, I think sometimes there's not much more to say because I genuinely don't want to spoil any of these movies. It is unlike any Cinderella story that I have ever watched before. So yeah, that's all I got for you today. I definitely just wanted to make a quick little video shouting out some really good horror movies for you to check out. I'm really anti-spoiler, so I did not want to give any or too much details about any of these movies. If you have seen any of these movies, let me know down below. What did you think of some of them? Are there any other underrated horror movies that you think I should check out? Definitely look at my letterboxd and see if I've seen it. If I have not, please let me know. I love adding more movies to my watch list. And with that, I hope you're continuing to have a wonderful spooky season. I can't wait at the end of the month to talk about all the horror movies that I have been watching. If you liked this list, if you like horror movies, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube things. I would just like to say I started this YouTube journey just a few months ago, and I think like the reception that I have gotten so far is really surprising and shocking. I honestly thought I would be talking to a void. So the fact that you guys have taken the time to like or comment or even subscribe has meant so much to me and has been really fun. So I really hope to continue this journey with all of you, and I'm just really looking forward to talking about more movies. So again, thank you for all of your support. Thanks for hanging out with me again, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye!